Hello, I'm back with Binging last season after a little 2-week hiatus. Don't ask me where I've been, I'm not telling you. But I knew when I came back I wanted to do a video about Oshi no Ko because I've been super excited for season 2 to come out. It is finally finished airing now that summer season is ended, and look, I didn't plan on making this clickbait, okay? I just wanted to make another video of me sucking off yet another great show, and I'm still gonna do that, but I do mean it when I say that I think this might be the last really good season of Oshi no Ko. Don't worry if you haven't seen season 2 yet, because I don't like spoiling the big plot points with these videos, but I am going to talk about all the stuff that I really liked about it, and some stuff that I'm kinda concerned about. Now, with all that BS out of the way, let's talk about season 2 of Oshi no Ko, and holy shit! Holy shit! If I just aimlessly ranted about all the stuff I loved about season 2, we'd be here all day. So instead of doing that, I'm gonna take a page out of a bigger YouTuber's handbook and employ the hidden ninja art of the numbered list. We're starting with the biggest sell, in my opinion, which is number 1, the animation is beautiful. Studio Dogakobo is back. They worked on the first season, as well as some other notable anime adaptations like Jellyfish Can't Swim in the Night, which I covered in my last video, and Helpful Fox Senko-san, which if you've been around the channel for a while, you know that show is kind of a big deal for me. If you're wondering how a character drama can have striking visuals, then A, you probably didn't watch season 1, and B, you will be as surprised as I was in episode 1. They just find ways to make visuals of things that shouldn't be that visually interesting. And for the scenes that are inherently visually interesting, they dial it up to 11. At the end of season 1, they were talking about doing a 2.5D theatrical play, which I didn't really understand. I didn't know how any of that stuff worked before I watched season 2. But they found a way to animate those scenes in such a way where it drew you in as much as the crowd might have felt engrossed by what was playing out in front of them. It felt as astounding to you as it might have done for them. In a word, it's immersive. Number 2 is the character depth. Now, there's a theme in Oshi no Ko from season 1 where talking about the idol industry and moreover talking about entertainment in general when it comes to the whole storyline of the show, they're built on lies. Celebrities are this web of lies, and the more they can get you to believe in the lies about them and how interesting and amazing they are, the more effective they are at their jobs. I think the characters are written and portrayed effectively enough that at times you forget the whole thing is fake. It feels real enough that you sit there and you go, oh, he's just like me for real. I've got depression too. But realistically, these people, these situations are as far from reality as possible, but the show does a good job at making you forget that, and I think that's another highlight. Number 3, I'm just gonna call the trick. It's basically a more specific version of number 2, but it was so effective at what it did that I feel the need to point it out. At certain times while they're preparing for their screenplay and working on their acting and whatnot, they will explain character analysis and storyboarding methods in detail. They'll go into like how it works, the specifics of what they're trying to get you drawn towards, and what makes the audience enjoy something more. And while they're explaining that, they're employing the same exact methods on their own characters with such effectiveness that you almost forget it's happening. If you're not paying attention, you might not even realize that they are using the exact methods that they are spelling out on you during the anime. They almost got it past me. Almost. But luckily, I am a 200 IQ vegetable. So when you watch it, do me a favor. Come back here, go in the comments section after you watch it, and tell me if you notice the specifics of what I'm talking about. Do a little spoiler warning so you don't spoil anything for anybody else. Tell me if you notice what I'm talking about, alright? Number 4 is their highlights and lowlights. This is continuing from season 1, but Oshi no Ko does a really good job of highlighting all of the awesome parts of being in the entertainment industry. They make it fun to watch, they make it exciting, they make you really empathize with the characters on the screen, but they don't really hesitate to delve into the trenches when it comes to the worst parts of the entertainment industry, to the dark underbelly of it. They really never stray away from it. That's kind of what Oshi no Ko is built on, and they still do it pretty well in season 2, so I thought I'd include it in here. And number 5 is the drama. It's the tea. It's the stories continuing from season 1. It's all of the hijinks that they get up to, which is a highly inappropriate way to describe what I'm actually talking about, but fuck it, if you haven't seen it so far, you don't know that. The revenge plots, the will they, won't theys, the history between characters and how it comes out in important scenes, it's all still there in season 2. It's all still peak. But this also leads to my concerns about Oshi no Ko and where it's going in the future. And I will say, this is highly speculative. This is based on my experiences with similar shows and genres in the past, but with that out of the way, let me explain. So a while back, I watched my first Korean drama. It was called like Patient's Doctor or Doctor's Stranger or something like that. I can't remember. I don't even know how I ended up watching it. All I know is that when I was watching it, I had recently gone to Budapest and I noticed that they filmed in the same city, so I recognized some of the locations and I thought, oh, that's pretty neat, that's pretty cool. I was even more invested in it, so I kept on watching it. And after 6 episodes, about an hour long, it was a 12-episode season, and I enjoyed all of the episodes. I ended up dropping it. And the reason I ended up dropping it, despite the fact that I was enjoying it, is because it felt like the story was just going in circles to maintain its own drama. And with that in mind, I realized 2 things while I was watching season 2 of Oshi no Ko. The first thing I realized is that I had become more interested in the side plots of the story than with the main plot. I found the drama of, finding this person who murdered I to be sort of, wearing itself out. I grew bored of it. I was more interested in the interactions that they were having with the people around them and with the goals that the main character had, in the first place, being an idol, working in the entertainment industry, even though it was a means to an end. I enjoyed that part more than I did the mystery. And I realized that there is a pretty high chance that the more that they focus on the story that they started in season 1 and trying to find its conclusion, the more I'm just going to get bored because I'm more interested in everything else that's happening, that those scenes are actually going to bring down my enjoyment of Oshi no Ko in the future. And the second thing I realized is that Oshi no Ko is a drama. I know, big surprise. I'm surprised that I didn't notice it up until this point. But what I'm really saying here is that they might go down different paths. They might do different plot twists and whatnot. This is basically what happened when I was watching that Korean drama. Every other episode was a plot twist, and at some point, it did start to get annoying. At some point, I had my ending in mind that I was okay with. Something that I saw on the screen that I was like, oh, I'm cool with this. I'm cool with this outcome. I think this is good for the story, and the story can move forward. But when it comes to dramas, sometimes they don't want to move forward. They want to maintain the drama in whatever way that they can, and that is not always a good thing. And in the case of Oshi no Ko, they might happen upon an ending for viewers that they find satisfying, that they then take back in order to continue the drama of the series. And I realized that if that happens, I wouldn't enjoy it as much. I would sit there and go, well, why didn't you stick with the original thing that you wrote out, that you said this is what happened, instead of going into this other storyline that doesn't really need to be there in the first place? I was okay with the first ending. Now you're doing something else entirely that, at some point it becomes exhausting, in my opinion. And don't get me wrong, people like dramas. People enjoy those dramas because of the constant plot twists and this arc and that crazy thing happens. But in the case of Oshi no Ko, like I said earlier, it doesn't necessarily need it. It doesn't need that plot point to continue on. It doesn't need to be the driving factor in the story where they've found this other way to tell their story that focuses more on Aqua and Ruby as people, rather than focusing on the murder of their mother. Ironically, I think that when it comes to Oshi no Ko, they could branch off into this new type of story to tell rather than dwelling on the plot point from season 1. I think they could move past it effectively, and I worry that they're not going to. And so in future seasons, I just think that depending on the story they end up telling, it might just get worse. But that is all just speculation on what might happen in the future. It has nothing to do with season 2, I promise. And we're talking about season 2, and I gave season 1 a 10 out of 10. I believe you guys know that at this point. Season 2 is tougher for me. It's really, really tough for me because I really want to slap a 10 on it, but I don't think I'm going to. But I'm also going to cheat. For the purposes of this video, I'm giving Oshi no Ko a 9.5 out of 10. Don't check my anime list. I don't want you to know what I actually gave it. This is the score that I think most accurately represents how I'm feeling at this point about season 2. It was really good in a lot of ways. There were certain things, certain very, very specific things that I don't know if I like. We're going to have to see what happens going forward. But for now, 9.5. It's really, really good. You should watch it. If you haven't watched Oshi no Ko at all yet, what are you doing? It's been in the mainstream for a really long time now. Everyone fucking loves it. You'll love it too, and if you don't love it, everyone hates you. Remember that. Anyway, if you're wondering where I've actually been, I had a meltdown after the last couple of videos. I had a little baby tantrum. I was mad that I wasn't able to watch exactly what I wanted to watch, exactly when I wanted to watch it. So I went back and rewatched Isekai Nanbiri no Ka twice because I'm insane. But I do think this is going to become more of the norm. I think I'm going to start uploading bi-weekly for Bingeing last season and covering multiple anime in one video. It's going to help me make the videos longer, and it's going to give me more space to make other videos about other things that I've wanted to release for a while. I have a Hassan Piker Gokunaru fan fiction that I've been telling people I'm going to release for the past 500 years, but I've been too focused on anime videos to do that. So that's in the works. And apart from that, you know, I was jacking off. What do you want?